Hello everyone, Blackberry here, and today we're going to be covering the Cetrion matchup against Sindel. This matchup to me is her worst matchup. I think it's her worst matchup. It's arguable. Some people will say it's Liu Kang, some people will say it's, Raiden, but for me, I feel like Cetrion has been her worst matchup for quite some time, especially after customs. So I'm going to start out by showing you why it's pretty bad, and then some counters to the character that you could implement that might help you out. So the reason why this matchup is so bad, 7-3, is because Sindel has to take a lot of risks to get in, where Cetrion is pretty safe in most situations, right? So basically, we'll start off with one of the most common scenarios we'll see with Cetrion up close, which is Tornado. So after Tornado, right? Whether it be 1-1 Tornado or 4-2 Tornado, Cetrion is in a situation where she's safe, and she technically gave up her turn, but since Sindel is very slow, she can steal her turn back, and I'll show you why. So you do 4-2 Tornado. She tries to do forward 4, and see, I interrupt her with 1-1 right here. 1-1 full combo punish. It also works off of 1-1 Tornado. Stop her in her trash, trying to get her space back. That's most likely what you're gonna see after Tornado from most Sindel players. They're gonna try to take their turn back with forward 4, or just in most situations in general. They'll try to take their turn back forward 4, and she stops that in its tracks. Alternatively, if you want to take even less of a risk with Cetrion, you just do Rock Wall. Also stops it. And this is probably actually one of the best options, because Rock Wall will stop just about everything Sindel does after this situation. Didn't come out. So an option that Sindel could do in this situation after Tornado is she could try to low Star Screamer, because it's a low. So if the Cetrion player was to try to take their turn back with like 1-1 after, or a high, you could stop them in their track. Yep, so that's one counter to that situation. However, like I said, you could just do Rock Wall if you're Cetrion, and it beats it. And it gives her a crushing blow because she's punching the fireball. So like I said, big risk, because if the Cetrion player knows that all you need to do is Rock Wall in this scenario, you punch them every time. Alright, so now we'll talk about Hell's Wrath. This move hits at pretty much the perfect angle to deal with Sindel, because not only will it stop her low fireball because she's off the ground, as you can see, but if she tries to whip and flip incorrectly, like if she does it when it's already out, she'll stop her as well. And something that's really messed up in this matchup is if you hit from like this range, if you hit at Sindel's feet with Hell's Wrath, she can just do another one, and it will just, like, if she tries to do low fireball in retaliation, she'll hit her. I'll show you right now. so not much risk there. All right, so now talk about Cetrion's boulder in this matchup. I mean, this is just an overall strong tool against the whole cast, but with Sindel, it's really bad because when Sindel's full screen, I mean, she just has a really tough time in general. So basically, in a scenario where you get hit by a boulder, you're gonna obviously have to block. If you don't block, you can get hit by, you know, earthquake. You just eat another boulder. You just have to keep eating boulder. So you'll have to block, of course, and that's a universal thing. But I mean, there's a reason why this move is just so strong. So you see the block advantage on that is plus 23. So like when you block this, you have to block again. And if you don't flawless block it, it's pretty much giving her another opportunity to steal another one if you were to jump in the scenario. So basically in a situation with boulder, if you block it, like I said, it's like plus 23, plus 24. So you block it, you have to block. You can't jump, you can't do anything. I'll show you there. I'm gonna try to jump after it. He's just locked down. You're pretty much jailed into the Hell's Wrath, or not the Hell's Wrath, the Earthquake, right? So what you have to do in this scenario is you have to flawless block it. All right, so you guys may know that Sindel struggles when it comes to like zoning, like full screen zoning. And basically anytime you get hit by a boulder, whether you jumped it or you just get hit by it randomly when you're trying to get in, it's gonna push you full screen. So yep, full screen, and now you have to try to get in. So when you flawless block, it's gonna make it a lot more bearable. As you can see, this is 0. So at that point, like, you can do a lot more against Cetrion. Cetrion can't really do much with +1 or 0 in that situation. So, I mean, the best thing you could do is just keep walking your way in. But it's a lot different than like plus 23. But from full screen, it's still pretty crazy. As you see, it's plus 19. Like plus 17, plus 19 full screen. So you still have to make good decisions on your approach. All right, so now I'm going to tell you about some things that you can actually do as Sindel to kind of counteract what Cetrion wants to do. So, as I said before, Sindel kind of has to take a lot of risks, but they're calculated risks. And it's a lot of in-the-moment decision-making that you have to do in this matchup, right? So, the main variation I suggest for the matchup is going to be low Star Screamer, the Banshee Dash, and the Weapon Flip. Each of these moves can kind of check Cetrion for different scenarios. From full screen, if you can afford to, it can be kind of a risk, but if you time it right, you may be able to stop her from doing it. So, low Star Screamer can check her for throwing a rock in an incorrect scenario. If you mistime it, you see that trade, it's definitely not in your favor. She has way more advantage than you do, because you actually get knocked down and she's still standing, so that's not good. What you could do for a more even trade is amplify it. I feel like this trade still benefits Cetrion more just because you're using a bar and that boulder hurts a lot. Like, it hurts a lot. So a situation I would use that in is if you can actually if it's like a situation where you can like afford to take it, or like you know it's gonna kill. So yeah, low fireball can check her in those scenarios. Alternatively, after tornado, we did show this briefly, but like I said, you have to take some risks in this matchup. If you read that she's going to take her turn back with 1-1 after tornado, you can do low star screamer to check her. You can also backdash into it if you want to be a little bit more safe. But yeah, basically, I would use low star screamer as kind of a footsie tool in like this range right here. You could use it from full screen, like I said before, but it's a lot more of a risk because, you know, the trades are not in your favor, and she can also go over it with Hell's Wrath, like I showed you before. And in this range, it's going to be a lot harder for Cetrion to react to the situation. All right, so another option after Tornado that is pretty effective is to scream after. That's gonna catch her. Like if you want to use the Scream KB, in this matchup, I suggest using the Scream KB in a situation where you know it's gonna get the kill, secure you the round, or put you in a very advantageous situation. Like I wouldn't use it as recklessly as you might in some matchups because you need every tool available to you against Cetrion. So if you were to use Scream and not close out the round, like that's a very bad position to be put in as a Sindel player. So it's something to keep note of. But yeah, Scream is an option. Backdash Scream, probably a little bit more effective. Like if she does forward 2, you see, if I forward 2, like from the dash, I can hit her. But if I just do it straight up, I get hit. But with the backdash, I believe you should be able to beat both options. There you go. All right, so Banshee Dash, this move is really good at keeping Cetrion on her toes because, you know, it hits, the angle it hits is going to hit a lot of things she wants to do. Yeah, if she tries to throw a boulder and you're quick enough, you can just interrupt her like so. You have to be on point though, because if not, you could just get hit. See? And that trade is definitely not in your favor. It's also good at stopping Hell's Wrath. So yeah, it's a punish. So that's a great check to that. And you can even hit Earthquake in specific situations. Like it's a little bit inconsistent because I think it depends on where in the Earthquake you start the Banshee Dash, but it's definitely possible. See, it whiffs here, but it hits right there. So this move is definitely like the most useful move in this matchup, in my opinion. This Banshee Dash, pretty important. Without this move, the matchup is like unplayable. Then you have Whip and Flip. The Whip and Flip is something, you know, you can kind of react with or try to. Like if you see her doing boulders in a predictable fashion, just Whip and Flip it. I don't know why my Whip and Flip isn't coming out. But yeah, if you see her doing boulders in a predictable fashion, Whip and Flip, stop it. It can stop Hell's Wrath as well. And of course, stop the boulder or the tornado. Not tornado, can't talk. The earthquake. But as we all know, whip and flip is, you know, it's always a risk to do because if they block it, then you're punished. Another tool that you can use with Sindel in this matchup, it's pretty slow option, but it's something that you can definitely use to kind of check her from like this range and closer, which is her forward 2. It has so much range. Most people will use this as an up close tool for the mix up, but you know, they forget that it has so much range. You can use it as a footsie tool. So generally speaking, in this matchup, you're gonna want to be about this range or closer, like as much as possible, because as we all know, Cetrion she's a zoner. She does have the tools with Tornado to rush down, but generally she's a zoner, and Sindel just wants to be in there. And at this range, you kind of have some advantages because you have some faster pokes, like down 3. It's had a lot of range, and it's faster than her forward 2. So he tries to come in with forward 2, it's gonna check her, and then you have advantage. Down 4, it's like the same scenario, a little bit less range, but you know, it's gonna be her forward 2. And also, if she tries to take her turn, or if she tries to start her offense with 1-1, you're just gonna go right under them because they're both lows. So I'll show you an example. Then there's forward 4. We talked about this a little bit, how it's slow and it's not something you always want to throw out in a predictable fashion when she does Tornado. But in this range, you're pretty much good to use it. See, I'm interrupting her 1-1 right here. And when you hit it, I suggest trying to just stagger it on her, or just keep her standing with it, because like I said, you always want to be close to her. So instead of just finishing it, just stagger it and try to keep her standing and keep your advantage as much as possible. In a situation where you do have to use it, it's gonna send her full screen, which kind of sucks. Generally, with this move, it's pretty good because, or it's very good because of the fact that Sindel has pretty good zoning and it sends characters full screen, so they have to get in. But you're the one that wants to get in, so because you send her full screen, you have to work your way in. So what I would suggest in this scenario is to try to just dash forward, and if you can, wave dash if possible to cover more distance. It's not the best situation, as you can see, like she's getting up before I can even get close, but you know, you gotta try to press your advantage as much as possible. An alternative, risky alternative you could do is try to like whip and flip on meaty, but we covered that this is a risk. So yeah, use that very sparingly, and only if you know that they're gonna try to get away or do something they're not supposed to on wake up. Other than that, the matchup is pretty much, like I said, in Cetrion's favor. Like it's very unfortunate, but yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do with Sindel outside of the things that I kind of already covered, and everything else is just like universal situational thing and conditioning. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it. I'll try to cover for the next video, I'll try to cover something that's in her favor, because I can, you know, give a lot more helpful tips, since there's a lot more that she could do in a matchup that she wins versus one like this where Cetrion has a lot of control. But yeah, I hope you guys found this somewhat helpful. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. This was kind of different from my normal editing style for something like this because it would take a lot of time and there's a lot of matchups, so I'm trying to get through them as efficiently as possible. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.